Hello, it's Remy, and today we are doing a super exciting video. I am going to be checking out kind of a new subgenre to myself. I've never read anything within this genre that I'm aware of, and I have been seeing it all over TikTok. And if you guys don't know, I am a huge fantasy lover. Like, majority of the books that I read are fantasy, and sometimes I'll dabble in like a romance or a mystery or thriller or whatever, but I am a fantasy reader through and through. And so when I saw this subgenre kind of cycling around, I was very, very curious and very, very intrigued. And that subgenre is cozy fantasy. And I'm super curious because recently I have tried picking up a mystery thriller and I've tried picking up a romance, and I'm just like, no thank you, not in the mood. I am in a fantasy only mood right now, but sometimes it can be a little bit hard to constantly like be in that high stakes, brutal, intense, enemies to lovers, like everything is crazy vibe. So I'm very, very, very curious, because if I can like read some of my more intense fantasy books and then read like a little cozy fantasy on the side to like palate cleanse, like who knows if I'll ever go back, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. So today I am starting my first cozy fantasy, Legends and Lattes, and I am so excited. This has probably been like the most popular cozy fantasy going around, and I have had my eye on this book for a while now. For some reason, I just didn't want to buy this book on Amazon. Like, I don't know, it kind of felt like one of those books where it's like, it will find me at the right time. I don't know if like that's just me or like if you feel that sometimes too, but I didn't want to like go out of my way to buy this. I just knew that it would find me when it was time. So in Hawaii visiting our really good friends, and there is one of my favorite bookstores there. It's called Bookends, and it is just like the epitome of beautiful bookstore, book piles everywhere, like amazing bookstore. And they had this sitting on the shelf and I was so excited. I was like, it's time everybody. Like, my husband was like looking at me probably like I was insane, but I was so excited to have found this book, and this is going to be the first cozy fantasy that we read, and I cannot wait. Essentially, it says this is a novel of high fantasy and low stakes. And it also says, after a lifetime of bounties and bloodshed, Viv is hanging up her sword for the last time. The battle-weary Ark aims to start fresh, opening the first ever coffee shop in the city of Thune. But rivals old and new stand in the way of success, not to mention the fact that no one has the faintest idea of what coffee actually is. If Viv wants to put the blade behind her and make her plans a reality, she won't be able to go it alone. But the true rewards of the uncharted path are the travelers you meet along the way, and whether drawn together by ancient magic, a flaky pastry, or a freshly brewed cup, they may become partners, family, or something deeper than she could have ever dreamed. Like, that sounds so wholesome, and like the fact that she's bringing coffee to the fantasy world. Like, my two favorite things, coffee, I mean, I have it right here, my oat milk latte, okay? You guys know, okay, I'm a coffee lover, and the fact that she's bringing coffee to the fantasy world, love her for that. So yeah, we're going to be starting Legends and Lattes, and I'm so excited. We're gonna see what it's all about, okay? We're gonna see what it's all about. Hi guys, I just wanted to do a little update on Legends and Lattes. I just got to page, just shy of 200 pages, and it's going really good. I really like it. I'm kind of pleasantly surprised because, oh my gosh, my camera, stay. I don't know, it's very different. It's true, it kind of is like high fantasy, low stakes. That is the best way I can describe this book, where you're getting all of the like high fantasy characters, like all kinds of fantasy type like lore and stuff like that, but it's really just like the day-to-day like simplicity of life. Like, yeah, there's a plot, there's conflict, there's, you know, like Viv, the main character, and it says on the back, essentially, like, she was, I don't know if she was like a bounty hunter or what, but she used to like participate in a lot of bloodshed. She used to fight a lot in battles, and she has this sword and blah blah blah, and essentially it's like her putting that aside and wanting to live a more simple life. And so obviously there's some conflict that arises from her past life, which is also covered on the back. I don't know, I've just been like breezing through this, and it has felt very calming and very relaxing to read. Like it, and I'm not like, it's not boring by any means. That's not what I mean. It's just, yeah, it's just very like calming and relaxing. And I really like the fact that it's a world built up of like the high fantasy things that you're like used to. I like that we're getting like the fantasy characters and some like fantasy lore without it being so like intense and crazy. Like, I really do like that. And essentially showing a different lifestyle, which I really like. And I'm really just enjoying myself with this. I love the character Thimble, I think is his name. Yes, if you read this, I think you would understand. I love Thimble, probably one of my favorite characters in the book. I'm almost done. There's only, I think 254 pages, so I have about 54 pages left. I'm gonna finish Legends and Lattes, and then I'll give you my final thoughts and verdict on this famous cozy fantasy book. I don't understand. I only have like 40 pages left. This like, that was I just need to keep reading because that was sad, difficult. That was a lot. Yeah. I only have 35 pages left, so I guess we'll see how it concludes. Okay, I'm gonna go finish the book. I'll be back. The ending of this book? Twelve out of 10. 12 out of 10. I have like 10 pages left. My heart is like so full right now. Where's the book? Here's the book. Okay. Legends and Lattes. Let's see. I think I gave this book a 4 or 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and I am super excited because I think the second book, which is a prequel, is coming out this year relatively soon-ish. It might be like November. Don't quote me on that. I'll put the date somewhere around here so you guys know the official release date of the prequel to Legends and Lattes. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It had way more plot than I thought it was going to because of it being high fantasy, low stakes. I was like, okay, so it's literally just gonna kind of be like this the whole time. Like, not really a ton happens, but really like quite a bit happens in the story, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And it's just not so intense and gory and bloody and all of that. It's just like life and the story, and like, wow, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And honestly, I feel like if you're someone who you are curious about the fantasy genre, maybe you don't read fantasy very much because it's kind of intimidating to get into a huge fantasy story that like has all this lore and all this world building and all this stuff, I feel like this book, and I'll have to see like reading other cozy fantasies how I feel about it, but at least this book feels like an amazing intro into fantasy because it's not so crazy, it's not so intense, the world building's not so overwhelming, and you get the, you know, fantasy lore without it being super overwhelming, and you get to know the types of fantasy characters and all of that without it being super overwhelming. So I would say, one, if you're wanting a breath of fresh air and you read a lot of fantasy, highly recommend. And also, if you're new to fantasy and you're wanting to get into fantasy, I would highly recommend as well. I know I'm not even close to the first person to say that, but yes, highly recommend. I really enjoyed the main character, and I really, really enjoyed the characters that came along and kind of supported the story. I really, really liked them. I absolutely love Thimble and Cal, probably two of my favorite characters aside from the main character in the story. Absolutely loved them, and just the spunk and the flavor that they brought to the book. So good. So far, so good in the cozy fantasy genre. The next cozy fantasy that I'm going to be reading is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I am super excited for this one. One, it's a beautiful book, and two, I have heard that this book kind of gives off a little bit of Cruel Prince vibes. I'm not 100% sure if that's true, because like Cruel Prince is kind of, well, it is more like high stakes and kind of intense and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know like if a cozy fantasy, we'll see. I'll catch up with you guys when I start Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. What? I know that these books are fantasy, that they're made up. I understand that. But Hrafnsvik Lejoslund. Hrafnsvik Lejoslund.
I look up to the sky to remind me. I look left, I look right, behind me. In one moment, you were there. In the next glance, you're gone. I keep my head up and my voice tall, just how.
Hello guys.
I just turned the sound off.
I am not at my house. I am actually in a little condo, hotel, whatever you want to call it, in like a little mountain town that's a couple hours out from where we live. We just wanted to do a little a little trip, a little getaway. There's so much snow here, it cracks me up, but we're just chilling. We're just relaxing, we're reading, and we are just unplugging for a couple days. I just wanted to pop on here and show you guys. I'm on page 48, so almost 50 pages in, and I'm really liking it. I was a little bit apprehensive to start it because it just didn't, like the first couple pages, I was not feeling it, I was not enjoying it, and then I was like, you know what, we're gonna push through. So many people say this is a great book, and I really want to like actually give it a legitimate test and try before I say yes or no. So I pushed through, and about 15 pages in, 20 pages in, I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm really enjoying this now and I'm excited to read more. I wouldn't say it's like something I'm giddy about reading, but I am enjoying it. When I actually do open it and start reading it, I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, so far we've met our main character, and she is essentially going around trying to document different kinds of fairies and fae and magical creatures, and we're just getting to know her a little bit and the area that she is in. It's a new area that she's never studied before. We're meeting kind of the characters in the town and everything, and I guess I don't really have much else to say because I'm like not even 50 pages in, but I just wanted to give you guys an update. Officially starting our second cozy fantasy book, and we're gonna see what we think about Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I also just very much enjoy carrying this around because it's so beautiful, and I feel very like, look at my book, you know? Anyway, I'll check in with you guys when I've read more. Something that's fun in this book is it will give you like somewhere you're reading along and you'll see, I don't know if you can see, like a little asterisk. And then down at the bottom of the page, it'll give you like a definition and or explanation of something that she's saying, which I actually think is really fun and kind of makes it a little more like interactive and a little more like encyclopedia-esque, I guess. And it's not on every page, it's just on some of them. But yeah, I really like that. Jacob is running in and grabbing something from the store, and I'm gonna do a little bit of car reading while I'm waiting. So yeah. You forgot where we parked.
Yes, I got lost.
You forgot where we parked.
I did. I thought I came up the other door.
Hi. I am so excited to be outside in a tank top. It has literally been in the 40s and 50s where I live, and finally it's 71 today. It's so nice. So I'm so excited to get to sit out here and read. I can't freaking wait. I might even need to put like shorts on or flowy pants because right now I just have leggings on. But I want to give you guys a little update. I made pretty significant progress in the book. I got to page 200 last night. It's kind of weird because I feel like simultaneously I'm like really intrigued by this book, and also it's kind of boring at the same time. Like, I don't really know how those things are coinciding, but that truly is how I feel about this book right now. It's not bad, it's just there are like long stretches where I'm like bored, and then like something interesting happens, or we're given like more information or whatever and it's interesting, and then there's like another stretch where it's just kind of like Heather Fawcett, I think is how you say it, I'm not 100% sure. She's a very lyrical writer, and so some of the parts that kind of go on and on and on are a little, you know, but overall I'm really liking this book. But I want to know, because I've seen this classified as cozy fantasy a lot of different places, but there is death in this book, and somewhat graphic death that kind of just coincides with like regular fantasy type death, like sword fighting and kind of stuff like that, where I didn't think that like, I thought part of the classification of cozy fantasy was that there was no death. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I have reached the point where, like, no, this is not anything like The Cruel Prince, but caveat, I can see where you can find some parallels, some similarities. Very minimal, very minuscule. Hint of Cruel Prince, okay? Like a sprig, a little sprinkle. So yeah, I have about 320 pages left, I think. Not 320 pages, oh my gosh. I have about 117 pages left. And I'm very excited to see how this book concludes. There is a second one coming out sometime in 2024, I believe. Depending on how this ends, I might be curious to read the second book. I'm really liking the main character, Emily Wilde. She is so spunky, do it herself, get it done, I don't need anyone's help kind of girl, and I really love that. And it's kind of fun throughout the book to see her kind of defrost a little bit and open herself up, which I really like. Anyway, I'm gonna sit here and enjoy the sun and read and see how far we get in this book. Maybe we'll finish it today, either today or tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys posted when we finish this book. Doing some more reading right now, and one of you guys commented, I can't remember if it was on Instagram or on TikTok, but you guys asked for some tips to having a good reading session, like keeping in the zone and like sitting down and like reading for a long period of time. And my number one tip is to put on some instrumental music. I just find them on YouTube. I have a playlist set aside that is called reading music, and I have found certain like playlists that are like 2 hours long, 4 hours long. Right now I'm listening to this one. It's kind of funny. It's called Atlantis Music for Meditation and Relaxation, Fantasy World Ambience. It just has a pretty graphic and it sounds like yeah, and that plays while I'm reading. I don't keep it that loud. I like it in the background because it kind of helps me like stay focused and not listen to other like external noises. So anyway, just a tip for you guys, if you don't do something like that already, I would highly recommend instrumental music while you're reading because it helps me a lot. What? Like, okay. That was unexpected. Yeah. What? Whoa. That was a whirlwind. That was such a whirlwind, like what? Okay. In a good way. In a really good way. But that was a lot. Okay, I need to keep reading. We gotta keep reading. Hi guys, it's been a hot minute since I finished this book, but that's okay. I officially finished Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I think I wound up giving it a 4 out of 5. This book was simultaneously so interesting and so kind of boring at the same time. Like, I don't think I've read a book like that. So yeah, but I'm very excited for book 2 because the way that this one kind of ended, and I just love Emily Wilde, and the professor that she kind of goes along with throughout the story, he is so interesting and hilarious, and I just love them together, and their banter and their interactions are hilarious. The only thing that I will say is that the romance did kind of seem to come out of nowhere, like maybe hinting at something, and then it was like, bam, like in your face. And I was kind of like, whoa. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I will say it took me a hot minute to get through. Overall, the story was so good, and the subjects and the plot points were so interesting, and I really, really liked it. But yeah, I don't think I've ever experienced a book where it truly is boring and interesting equally at the same time. I don't know if I would consider this a cozy fantasy, just based on the gore that happens in this book, but I don't know. So please let me know what your definition of cozy fantasy is, because I thought it was like no gore, no murder, no blood, like excessive kind of thing, but this definitely has gore and blood and some pretty visual descriptions. I was just surprised. But yeah, so finished Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Hi guys, I'm currently editing this video, and I realized I didn't ever really do an outro or like a conclusion to the video, so I just essentially wanted to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've ever read cozy fantasy, or if you like reading the cozy fantasy genre. If you do and you have any recommendations, please let me know, because I would be really interested in reading more in the cozy fantasy genre. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Happy reading. Bye!